Right, I'm back. I'm ready to mine again. Yeah, ready to mine. Not all this. I need to mine all of it. So I've done myself some thoughts, especially about horror. The horror will be split up into 3 different factions, or different faction types. The first one is Shredders. Shredders, they are effectively just leaning into horror's absolute ability in like manipulating energy, which also includes matter. So they just form themselves in forms of razor sharp objects that will cripple and maim the target. And if now they don't have any ranged weaponry unless they get osmium. Copy, David. And but let's just assume they don't have osmium. So then their ranged weaponry will deal a lot of damage. It will all be armor piercing because there is it is such a thin line that it can cut through anything at the atomic level. And they inflict a called cripple, which affect the target for like 10 seconds. All the attacks do that, including the osmium bullets. Then clapping David. And then after they have gotten a target afflicted by that debuff, then once the opponent gets to half health, then they inflict the debuff called Maim. Now Maim replaces cripple, doesn't have a decay effect, like it will not go away, it stays there unless you have regen, in which case it will disappear after a minute. And anyway, yeah, that was my little brother. He has autism. He can't speak. But yeah, I am. Yeah, they can inflict targets with the maim, and this effect does not disappear even after the battle. You have to have special facilities or salvage the unit in order to even do that. Make it work. You have to re-recruit it instead of replenishing it. Oh, actually no, you just have to cure maim. Oh no, you can't cure the maim because you will lose all the experience, and then at that point you might as well recruit a new unit. So there's a bunch of things that you... well, once your unit is maimed, then it's pretty much useless. Now that is what the maimers do. They just basically cut your limbs off, and they are heavily melee oriented. Then there are the contorters. The contorters, they utilize the ability that they are like in the 4th dimension, and they can manipulate matter into the 4th dimension. So what they do is they basically take and fold a person or an opponent into the 4th dimension. What I mean by that is that they will just continue on like stacking and twisting and contorting your body until you are just a speck of dust in the 3rd dimension, but is wholly encased in the 4th dimension. Because you can't move in the 4th dimension, you don't know how to move in there. And then they can just eat you, and then you're dead. Then you have been assimilated. It's not really assimilation, it's just acquiring your living biomass and controlling it and utilizing it however they like. They can't use dead biomass because they don't have the matters of like extracting the energy out of a dead body. It travels because tyrants specifically made the Draxen to not be able to be absorbed by horror. Horror needs some sort of like external means to break down dead bodies, and humans are abhorrent to it. Like, it despises humans, so it's not even gonna touch their biomass. There's only rare occasions where it does, and that's where it creates imposters, but that's another story. But contorters, they just basically pack you together and then just they misalign you in the fourth dimension. That also means that once you have contortion, the contortion effect, or misaligned effects, which you can get from getting shot by them or them attacking you, you have a random chance of whenever you attack, then you hit a random target anywhere on the map. That includes structures, or that you, when you run or walk anywhere, then there's just a chance that you teleport to somewhere else. As you're in the fourth dimension, and you may walk misaligned and then into somewhere else. And it only gets worse the higher the effect is, and actually I think that's gonna be how it is that I was also considering giving like a debuff to a debuff to one's combat stats. But I think it's much better to do it like this. Yeah. Oh, then I can talk about the last ones after this. Those are the interesting ones. Yeah. 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 I'm back. So what we're gonna do is that I am gonna mine. Okay, let's talk about decimators. The decimators, at first I was thinking like they should be the destructive force that just wanna eradicate everything. But first of all, that's not how horror works, and second of all, I already have a like that is effectively how horror is in the main story. They scheme, they control, they of course control everything and seek humanity's destruction, but when it couldn't do it head on because the Dragons intervened, then it thought of something else. How about infiltrating their society? And basically, whenever it faces a human, then it can kinda take control of that human by simply ingraining itself, copying debit, copying debit. By basically ingraining itself into the human, and then at any moment's notice, it can then take and contort this, or like seize the biomass of the human and contort it in however it likes. And like it can liquefy it, it can turn it into a, like take all of its iron and then just make that the thinnest edge held by then calcium and such, and then comes the flesh and such. It just passes on through. It can contort a human's body however it sees fit. Therefore, this kind of horror, I thought, why not just put that into being the decimator, because it really has the goal of just ending humanity by subterfuge. I might need a new name than decimators, but that is basically what they are. They are, well, they're not decimators, but they are the ones that like infiltrate a army. And their ability will be that once the battle starts, then it either assigns which unit has been infiltrated, or the units have already been infiltrated. I don't know which of the two I should make it. I think I'm gonna do the latter, where it is you have to send agents that are invisible over to seize the target and corrupt them. But yeah, then you at the beginning, then you see which units you have, and then at any time during the battle, you can tell a unit, you can select the opponent's units, the ones that are affected, and you can turn them into horror creatures at any time. And the opponent doesn't know which units are infected. Unless they've like kept track of it and all sorts of things. They can also, if they've discovered a unit that has been infected, then they can try to put a weapon onto them, like a bomb or something, so that once it turns, then it will explode. And they kind of do it in the person's sleep, so they don't notice. It does have a potential fail, so not guaranteed you get this trap to work. Just like you aren't guaranteed to get a unit infected. Yeah, that's basically horror. And I think there will be very interesting things, because you can basically tap resources at the risk of your ability. You can subterfuge units and armies. But that will kind of highlight that this army has an imposter. Then they'll start re-recruiting everything. Hey, you can turn the entire army into it. Oh, right, there's also another thing. I forgot about this. horror will have different ways to get units. For instance, the imposters, the decimators, they get units by taking and beating armies, and then also whenever somebody units are dying, then they build up a meter, and once that meter reaches a certain level, then the unit turns into a blob. And whenever a unit is an imposter, they also turn into a blob unless you have upgraded them to turn into some special unit. And then, at the end of the battle, then you take all the blobs, assign them to a unit, or multiple units, and then it's kind of like XP, only it is the value upgrading your units so that they get to the next tier. Because then they have enough living biomass to, well, get to a higher increase in level. And yeah, that's basically what the decimators do. They assimilate the opponent's army into their own and upgrade their own army, or they send them back to the base so that they can make new units to later on. They also feast upon living creatures. So they like that corruption because that gives them a constant resource of being able to recruit units. They don't need upkeep. And yeah, that's basically it for those tomatoes. Contorters. They once they have flipped their unit into fully, so it's fully misaligned, then they can just consume them and get health from it. Shredders, it's not really anything interesting about contorters. Shredders, they have the ability to, after they have slaughtered everything, they can take all the bits and flesh and pieces that have been cut out, and they can twist them into abominations that it can use as deadly weapons. I don't know what it's going to use those for, but they do have to collect the bodies before the flesh actually dies. The longer a battle goes on, the less flesh you will get. So therefore you need to finish off the enemy opponent like in one quick succession, and then you can loot all the dead bodies. That also means that even if the morale is low for instance, travels, then they just need to stall. Now there's one thing, if a unit is running, I still need to pick off what exactly to do in that situation, because otherwise an opponent could just run in circles around you for eternity. Maybe I should make it so that units can also just pick up these body parts and then they won't spoil. I think actually that's what I should do. So you can collect them. And maybe there should also be a little reward for collecting them, because that is difficult to do mid-fight. Maybe that then you get bonus salvage or something. But yeah, then you can make abominations, which offer some other things to them. Maybe it should also be the only ranged unit they have. The gun blob, which just is a bunch of guns that just fire. Go by a million hands. Like, yep. Gore mount pistols, or gore mount swords, or gore mount maces. That's also a thing, humanity has a very limited armor piercing. Anyway, Raffle. No, horror. Horror also has the ability to, this is more like a campaign map thing. Horror also has the ability to contort the world around it. And its main goal is to get Drafleon to collapse under its own weight by removing the underground supports for the world Drafleon. And well, oh crap. Well, it has to destroy some pillars or go to where it originally removed all the support. And then it has to destroy the supports. I don't actually know if it should return to the place where it held all the supports. I think it should. Because otherwise it can just bulk up and just stand sentinel until it has broken the entire world. But then again, the other thing would be a very interesting one, because then the opponent will send armies, you will assimilate those armies, and you will grow stronger and stronger. And then everybody will be against you and fight you to stop you from... I think actually the latter is better, because that way you actually get the feeling of being a creature that is beyond anyone. I think actually, yeah. I should make that. I should make it so that horror has the ability to also destroy the world from its homestead. It just takes a lot longer, because that way you can show the absolute futility to the opponent. Your decimators, you just assimilate them. If you are shredders, you also assimilate them. And if you are the contorters, well, then you just no. Actually, if you're the contorters, you have problems. But then you make the maze towards you impossible. And actually, with the imposters, there you much rather would infiltrate all the armies. They just suddenly, these armies are mine. And then create a huge chaotic battle. Like, I think these are some solid designs. So Shredder is just sheer force. Contorters, they are more subtle. They like just create chaos once they have made it into the stage where they are ready to destroy the world. And contorters, I don't know about them. I don't know what they should do. They just make the world impossible to navigate. From a campaign map perspective, they're going to be very dangerous. So they are by far the weakest ones. The only thing they really got going for them is they have unparalleled abilities to twist the world. And like redirect enemy armies out of position so that they can strike in between the gaps. It's gonna be a very weird faction to play. But once you master it, there's not really anything the opponent can do besides teleporting to somewhere. But then, even there, they can do stuff to get out of there. Maybe not. Maybe teleport is the trump card that they can't best. Anyway, I'm almost done. I just need to make the pickaxes. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There we go. And now we just put all of these down here. Here. And we put this here and this there. And then do good. Right, I'm done. Yeah, but that was actually pretty good. That's all about horror. Alright, goodbye. Hang on, let me just check. Alright, good.